Hello and welcome to episode 32 of Your Average Critics, joined currently by Ollie and Chris, and then Obi will be popping along shortly.
We're all hanging, so...
Yeah, so yesterday we went out and celebrated Chris's birthday, so happy birthday, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, 24.
24.
And
Does it hurt when you sit down? You're like, Or like when you get up, you're just like...
Mate, majority of the group are 24 now of this podcast.
You all kids.
It's true. It's just you. And then
what about Joe? When's his birthday?
Who?
June, something. July, maybe.
MIA, innit?
Yep, Joe is MIA. Yeah, I need to pop off, so I'll be doing a bit, then Obi comes. But I'll talk about the stuff that I watched and you haven't. So I went to see Jigsaw, the 8th installment in the Saw franchise.
We didn't do like a weekly catch up.
Oh, I'll do a weekly catch up then.
What's like is there any film?
You're falling asleep.
Is there any film news? I swear we always used to do the news.
Kevin Spacey is pretty much.
Yes. Well,
he's been accused of several counts of sexual assault.
Yeah, I think Obi wants to talk about that as well. Okay. So we'll wait until Obi gets here. But yes, there have been some
all kicking off
allegations about a lot of people within Hollywood.
Yeah.
And we will discuss that later.
Film news. Well, we've got Justice League and Punisher coming out in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, just
November.
under 2 weeks.
What are you going to see first? That's the question. Well, I know what you two are going to see first. Punisher.
No, because Punisher's a series and it'll take me a while to watch that. I'll probably just watch Justice League, slate it, and then I can move on.
Yeah, true. Fair play.
Yeah. Good
what
lad.
other
Good
news
lad.
is there? I had a few bits, but I cannot remember off the top of my head right now.
Come back to it then.
Yeah.
Go on then. How's Jigsaw, mate?
So it's the 8th film in the Saw franchise, following Jigsaw and his killers and his followers. So don't know if you lot have seen any of the Saw franchise.
Well,
yeah, I heard that he died, but obviously it's like a copycat or whatever. Someone's taking the lead for it. Yeah. So they could just do this forever. They're like, oh my god, it's him again. And it's just like a recording of him. Wanna play a game. Yeah,
so it's so spoilers for the Saw franchise, but Jigsaw dies in the 3rd one, but then isn't
he in the 4th one though?
He's in all of them.
He's in all of them?
Yeah, all 8.
What hurrah.
But they just kind of flash back
to
when he's mentoring people, and basically he creates these mentors who kind of continue his legacy.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the time, like the things aren't actually happening at that moment in time, are they? So they're like, was it the 2nd or the 3rd one when it's the detective looking at the house, and it's like that had happened way before.
Exactly.
And then it even goes back to the 1st one as well, because he goes back to the room. Right, yeah.
Even the 7th one links into the 1st one.
No way.
Because...
it's not going to be like Final Destination.
So the guy who...
Have you seen the last Final Destination, how it loops to the 1st one?
Yeah.
Mad, isn't it?
No, but so the guy who saws his foot off, Dr. Gordon...
Oh yeah, he's the guy at the end of the 7th one, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's the one behind the 7th traps.
Oh my
Basically,
goodness.
you see that... Because you don't see him after he gets out of the room, when he's crawling, but he cauterizes his wound. I think that's the right word, cauterizes his wound, and then basically becomes one of Jigsaw's mentees. I don't know.
What an absolute nut. It's like...
The timeline of this franchise is buggered.
It's like Stockholm Syndrome, isn't it? You don't hear about it though, do you? It's the new Stockholm Syndrome.
But the thing is, I don't get... Do you think they planned for him to always escape and become something later on in the franchise, or do you think...
No, I think they just retconned it.
No.
But so Jigsaw is the 8th one. It takes place about 10 years after Jigsaw's died. I mean, it's 5 or so years since the last film anyway. So it follows this, obviously a detective who is investigating kind of copycat murders. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the trailer.
The trailer, yeah, where they're in a room.
They got like rope around their neck, chain around their neck.
Going into a wall
was it really
full of
stupid,
swords.
this one? Because I heard that the traps were a bit too crazy for people's likings.
They weren't crazy.
They're sophisticated, like too sophisticated.
Well, so I've seen some criticism levelled against this film because the traps they don't feel quite as like grounded and as kind of raw as the last, like
messy,
as the previous 7.
Like it seems like way too manufactured.
Yeah. So
like a really clean wall.
I rewatched the first Saw
Not in
yesterday.
a dirty warehouse.
I rewatched the first Saw yesterday, and you can sort of, you can feel how like metallic and kind of not natural, but like gritty it is.
Yeah.
Whereas this one's a little bit too polished, maybe. But so the copycat killer, they're not really killings, are they? But games.
Well, they kills, doesn't they?
Well, he gets people to kill themselves, basically. So that's the point. Is that he's not an actual serial killer. He just creates.
Sure, you get done for murder, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I thought though, actually, in one of them where there's like the pendulum, they're like, "Oh my god, this isn't Jigsaw," because they didn't design it as like an escape. It's literally just like, oh.
But so yeah,
deep,
so you follow these 5 characters as they go through the stages of the game, and then obviously the policeman's investigating them with the help of a surgeon, who basically says, "Yeah, this is Jigsaw's blood on it," and then they dig up Jigsaw's grave and he's not there. So everyone's thinking, "Oh my god, has he somehow survived?" And then basically the last 2 people who get to like the final stage of the game, Jigsaw turns up, like John Kramer, and he
is alive then.
Wow. So he so whilst you see this, he's like setting up the final stage, and then it cuts between the policeman and the surgeon, who are basically go to where they think the game is happening, and then you see the 2, basically spoiler, everyone dies. Who's in the game?
I hate that.
Because he does that thing where he puts a shotgun in the middle of a room, and they're both chained to the wall, and he holds up one shotgun bullet and says, "This is the key to your survival," and he puts it in the shotgun. So they think that
shoot the chain, right?
So there's a woman and a man, and the man's got half his leg cut off, from a previous iteration of the game. And so basically,
so he's been in it before?
No, I was in like
further
before this stage. And so the woman, so they basically think they need to kill each other to survive. So the woman grabs the shotgun and then like pumps it, and then the guy's like, "Hang on, wait," but then she presses the trigger, and Kramer had put the shotgun in backwards, so the bullet comes out the back and kills her. And then you basically see within the shotgun shell, he had put the 2 keys to their chains, but because she'd shot it, the keys exploded. So it's quite similar to the first one in that respect.
But surely it's not his fault though. Surely in that game there was, if one person effed up, then you're both screwed.
Yeah.
Rather than...
No, but he basically, it was like literal. He was holding the shotgun shell, saying, "This is the key to your survival," but they obviously just wanted to kill one another, and then so I was watching it, I was like, "Oh my god, how has Jigsaw survived?" And then basically when the cop and the surgeon arrive at the warehouse, they find the 2 corpses, and then the surgeon's like, "Oh yeah, these have been here for at least 10 years. So basically what has happened is the surgeon is the follower of Jigsaw. So he was in this first game 10 years ago, but basically everyone thought he died, but he got saved by Jigsaw. And then the surgeon recreated the same game to kind of throw everyone off the scent and think Jigsaw did it. So that was quite a good twist. I've probably not explained it very well.
Did they figure out that it was the surgeon?
Well, the surgeon told the cop that it was him, but he'd put the cop in this head kind of brace. I don't know if you've seen the third one where the woman's got the shotgun shells pointed at her.
So he's dead as well then?
Yeah, the cop dies. He gets his head sliced off.
Ouch.
But
probably not ouch, really. You wouldn't really... you wouldn't know, would you?
No, true.
But the thing is this is
still mad.
I quite enjoyed the ending, right? Because it kind of relates a bit to the first one, a bit of the second one, and a bit of the third one. So it's kind of throwbacks. But up until that point, it really wasn't very good.
What was that acting like?
it is just people just screaming.
I was gonna say,
and it's really not that interesting.
Because the first one is obviously you're just really watching two guys in a room, and you kind of like, you know, trying to get to understand their point of view and that they're actually freaking. But in this one, it's just there's like actual young people, and they're just like screaming, and you're like, screaming doesn't help anything. Like,
the script must have just been because they're just going fuck my leg.
Loud noises.
It's like, what I don't get is though the whole point of the game is to punish the criminals. Yeah. And then there's one victor, isn't there, usually? No?
Well, yeah, the idea is that everyone could survive.
So basically, it's a kind of redemption, isn't it? So if they do the right thing, then they would all survive. I swear there was one where there was like needles and someone had to jump in.
Yeah. That was the second one.
So surely someone had to go and do it.
Yeah, but you don't die. She was just covered in needles.
The guy chucked her in.
Yeah. That was Amanda. But yeah, so this one it didn't feel as gritty or as grotty as the previous ones. There was a bit of kind of polish to it, and because I'd seen the trailer, I actually basically knew who was going to survive each section because they showed almost
less people at the end of the trailer.
No, they showed almost every single stage in the trailer, and so I was like, okay, well, this is the first one. I know that this guy is in a later section, so I'm like, okay, he obviously survives.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't, for me, there wasn't any kind of tension. There was no like, oh, who's going to survive? And to be honest, I didn't give a flying fuck about any of them. Like, there wasn't too much backstory, so I didn't care if any of them survived. In fact, I wanted them to die in like really gory ways.
Yeah, of course you did. You're sicko, mate.
But this one, this one wasn't as gory either.
No.
Which
like
is part of why you go and watch a Saw film. Like, now anyway. I mean, the first one is less torture porn than the rest of them. But yeah, it wasn't that great. The ending was good, but the lead up to it...
Didn't hit you in the G-spot, eh?
The traps weren't as like scary or as threatening. There was one where two of them are basically drowning in a vat of grain. Like they're
I saw that, and then loads of stuff start falling.
Yeah, in this silo.
Well, how do they survive that then?
Well, so they're in the silo, and then the door shuts, and the grain starts pouring, and then when it gets up to their necks, like saws and stuff start falling. But for them to get out, the guy with the beard has to basically put his leg into this contraption and get it basically sliced off. So he does that, and eventually, after a lot of screaming, and then
and a lot of dodging. Not even dodging. Because I saw that bit on the trailer, and it's just like all falling down.
Yeah, it was just.
Oh, that's lucky.
It was just silly, man. Like, I was like, I don't find the idea of lying in a bit of grain that particularly scary.
That's just luck, innit? That's not actually down to their like what they do. Whereas all the other saws, like, it's what they do. So there's like the one where there's the guy who's like asleep, and like the woman's got there like a head mask, and the key is in his stomach.
Yeah.
So it's like actually she's got to like, oh my god, what do I do? You're in that kind of like terrible
dilemma
situation.
But also like the stuff falling into the silo just looked really fake. That's what I mean about the lack of kind of grittiness. Is like if I could tell that they were real. I mean, obviously they couldn't because they could injure the actors.
Polystyrene, innit?
But yeah, there was no kind of physicality,
yeah.
tangible nature to it.
I hate that. I hate it when they put like sound effects onto something, so you can just tell. Like in you seen The Hobbit, when they're like picking up these huge rocks and boulders. You're like, if that was a real rock, you would have to be like the Hulk to pick that up.
That's true, very true.
And then they like drop it and it bounces, but it goes.
The Hobbit's really strong.
Hobbits? No.
Wow.
Where'd you get that from?
I thought you said a Hobbit picked up a really big boulder.
No, that's in The Hobbit, the film.
Oh, right,
the dwarves are picking it up.
Oh, they must be really strong.
But yeah, I just kind of didn't really see the need for this film.
Well, it's Halloween, innit? So this is like our Halloween special podcast.
Well, that's pretty much the only horror film we'll talk about, unless you count Happy Death Day.
What about Flatliners as well?
Yeah, well, did you see that on your own?
It's not horror, but it's yeah, I did see it. Yeah. Anyone else see it? No one else saw it, did they?
No, it wasn't that very long. I wanted to though.
Yeah. It was alright. It was a decent film. I like the idea of it. So it's basically like, so this girl had the main character Juno. Juno. She had been in a car crash with her sister or her daughter, sister I think, and she basically killed her sister because she looked at her phone rather than driving. Usual story. And then so she's become a really quite a good. She's a doctor in training. What are they?
Junior doctor.
Probably. And then so it's like, she goes up to this guy and she's like, "Oh, come and meet me in the basement. I've got just come and meet me in the basement." Yeah, that's what he thinks. He's a little cheeky sesh. And then then he gets there and she's basically
kill me.
She's like, "I want you to kill me for a minute." And I must admit, for doctors, they are one hell of a. They're rubbish at trying to revive someone. Because literally, they made her die for a minute, and then they're like in a mass panic when they couldn't make her like recover. But like, they had several ways of doing it, and then another doctor came in and was like, "No, do this," and then.
How did they kill her?
A needle of some kind.
Oh really?
Yeah, I can't remember. But they did a lot of things to bring her back, and then it was longer than a minute. But they brought her back. She'd seen this world where it was all like magical and stuff, and nothing was really real. And then she came back, and all of a sudden she had these not gifts, but she could remember things from her past. So when she used to be able to play piano, so she could play it, and she could play it better than she used to, and she could remember books that she had read for the doctor thing, and she was like helping. And then, like, basically, they all wanted to give it a go, bar one guy. So, so, basically, what happens as you go on, one of the girls does it for, like, 3 minutes. She looks pretty ill because of it, and they have to, like, kind of stop it really quite suddenly because there's people coming to this place. And Juno starts seeing, like, bad things, and the other guy sees things as well. Okay. And basically, they soon realise that these things are things they need to like redeem about themselves. Mm-hmm. So obviously, she can't redeem the death of her sister, and she eventually falls off a building, and it looks like she could commit suicide.
Okay.
Then the guy, he has to go. So this blonde woman is a woman that he used to see, and basically, she's had his child, but he didn't know that. So then he's like, "Oh, okay, let's get together." And then the one who's from Vampire Diaries, I can't remember her name.
You watch Vampire Diaries?
Of course, mate. I watch everything. Well, she's not in it anymore. She had to confess about accidentally murdering someone, like in the hospital.
What?
She did something wrong and she basically killed someone, and she covered it up, and then she had to confess, and then the bad thing stopped. And then there was another girl. What did she have to do? She had a really tough time. I don't know if she killed herself. No. Basically...
So a lot of them died?
Basically, all four of the 5 survived.
Oh, okay.
But only... Wait. Yeah, and one of them didn't do it. He wouldn't do it.
He wouldn't, flatline?
He wouldn't flatline. He was like, "I'm not doing it, no way."
Okay.
He's like, "I'll be here to make sure you're all safe because I'm good at my job," kind of thing. And then, basically... So yeah, that was it really. I just kind of thought the idea of it was good, that they would die, there would be some repercussions for doing it, and that getting abilities kind of thing, I thought was kind of nifty. But the fact that all they needed to do was essentially get rid of their guilty conscience was a bit like, is that it?
Was it a bit too, like, preachy?
Yeah, almost. Because the woman who did it for 3 minutes, she was in this mad, trippy world where the guy was sitting down, like, he grabbed her arm, like, his eyes opened up, like, scaring the crap out of her. And that was it. She saw Juno, because obviously Juno had died, and she saw Juno, and Juno was like, free yourself or something, because, like, get rid of your guilty conscience. Or she basically said something to her, and she was like, okay then, I'll do this, and then that's it, all done. And then, yeah.
They say, like, your whole life flashes before your eyes.
Yeah, that's it.
So was it particularly horrific, or was it just...
Nah, it's a bit scary. Some people would find it scary at times where the little girl was like looking at Juno and like chasing Juno and stuff, and there was a point where one of the guys got stabbed in the hand, and that's quite horrific, I suppose. And there was one point that made me jump, and I was quite prepared for all of it, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, it was alright. I wouldn't go out my way to see it again, but it's a good idea, just not 100% not really well executed, I don't think. But yeah, there you go. That's my opinion on that.
So you would recommend it, or?
I say you could go and see it because I feel like maybe my opinion of it's a bit harsh, but in reality, I think it's a justified opinion of it. Like, it's like almost like The Purge. The Purge is a really good idea of a film.
Yeah.
But executing wise, they start off quite well, but then they end up just free falling a little bit or just copping out quite a bit, don't they?
Yeah, man.
So, I do look forward to the Purge TV series though.
It's
There's going to be a TV series?
Apparently, there is going to be.
That'd be quite cool. It's strange because like The Purge, it seemed like obviously it was a good idea and they got the second and third film and they obviously had a bigger budget, but the film actually got worse.
Yeah, that's
worse
it.
and worse, like The Source probably. You know,
Yeah.
bigger budget.
See, I
worse.
think The Purge 2 and 3 are quite good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was quite disappointed with the first one.
The third one's the best one, I think.
Which one's that? Is that Election? Or something?
Yeah, Election Night. But yeah, well, so they're doing a TV series.
I thought they were. I heard a rumour they were. Maybe I'm imagining it. Maybe I want there to be one. Whoever's listening to this, Purge TV series, do it.
Oh, yeah, that could be like 24, couldn't it?
Yeah. That's
You have like 24
Yeah.
hours and it's like you following.
yeah. That's why I think it
whoever.
would be better to do it like that.
That would be
Because
wicked.
you can see
idea.
different people's points of view of it as well, rather than just one person's kind of
Yeah.
thing. And yeah, you can
Like
probably see it
trying
from two sides. One people trying to get away from it, and people trying to kill someone in it, kind of thing. So
Yeah. Or if people, you know, just having fun,
yeah,
just having a laugh, having an absolute riot.
But then there is something about it being a film, there's more like tension, I guess. Because then you don't really know who survives. I guess you could do sort of the same with TV, but I don't know. I don't know if they could prolong it, you know, there'd be enough content to prolong it.
true. And if they're going off election year as well, there isn't technically a purge left.
Yeah, but they can always do like the first Purge,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you know, I'm sure they could do lots of things with it. Cool. What have you've written down for a long time? The
Pay it forward.
Pay It Forward. So
Yeah.
tell us about it. What is it?
It is.
I've got such high expectations
It's
now.
an old school film, old school Kevin Spacey.
Oh, dear.
When he was in his prime, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Awkward. And it's a really, really good idea actually for a film. And I thought it would be like more mainstream. It was suggested to me, and it's like a. So the idea is that Kevin Spacey is a teacher, and he gives kids in his class.
Oh god,
a-
Kevin Spacey and kids.
Oh god, yeah, that sounds dreadful, doesn't it? He gives them-
Allegedly.
he gives them pretty much a year-round test, which is to like change the world or to do something to change the world. And he's like, you're not going to get marked on the execution, but marked on the effort.
Okay.
So one kid comes up with the idea to pay it forward, which is you help 3 people by doing like an amazingly selfless act, and it's got to be something like you give someone your car if their car breaks down, something like that. And so this kid wants to help 3 people, and the idea is to then pay it forward. So those 3 people would help 3 people each.
Oh,
So that
okay.
like everyone
yeah.
in society helps one another.
Okay.
And it's a really good story following the relationship between this kid, Kevin Spacey the teacher, and the kid's mum. And like how they all, you know, how actually the kid's, he's trying to help this drug addict to begin with, but how that kind of falls through, but then actually it doesn't, because the kid doesn't really, you know, he gives up on the drug addicts pretty much, but the drug addict helps someone else not commit suicide.
Okay.
So it all pays off. But oh my god, the twist at the end, it's such a shit ending. It's
Oh, really?
so awful.
What, the twist ending?
That's a shame.
Twist ending.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Do you want to spoil it?
I'll put a spoiler out there.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler out there. If you guys, do you
Yeah.
want to know?
Yeah, go for it.
I
The
do.
kid dies.
What kid?
The kid dies. The kid who came up with the idea to pay it forward gets killed
By who?
by just some kids in school. He gets stabbed because he wants to help one of his mates who's getting bullied,
Mhm.
and you're like, oh, it's gonna be fine. The kid's gonna survive. He gets stabbed, and you're like, oh my god, he's dead. And they have all the people that this kid helped outside his front, outside their house with candles, and it's just so awkward because he set up Kevin Spacey and the mum, and so they're like seeing each other, but then like the kid dies and you're like, oh no.
But is that supposed to be like an emotional punch?
Yeah, it was.
It was,
but it was like,
so it worked.
I wanted a happy ending.
Yeah.
It was such a great film to have such a sad ending.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's a shame.
But then how do you end something like that? You know, it's just
like, yeah, he could have got stabbed, but when they were waiting in the hospital, like, he's gonna be alright.
Maybe.
And you're like, yes.
maybe if one of the people who had been helped ended up helping him, and it was like a cyclical thing. Do you know what I mean? Like one of the doctors had been helped.
True, that would have been quite nifty actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should, you know, like Be Kind Rewind.
Yeah.
We should go back and like retcon films and just film a better ending for.
Yes,
for these
I
things.
really good, like it.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
good.
the production values probably wouldn't be as good, but
Solid.
Kind of like
Yeah, but they do
Rewind.
like Ghostbusters, innit?
Yeah.
Be Kind Rewind, and they have like Hoovers.
I mean that film was terrible.
I love that.
I turned it off after like.
What, Be Kind Rewind or
Yeah.
Ghostbusters?
No,
Both.
Be Kind Rewind. Really
Yeah,
boring.
Either way,
Is
pay
it?
it forward, guys. So now you got to do something super selfless.
We are
It's
being
all
selfless
good
by
karma.
informing our listeners on our opinion
Nah, I
of
don't think that's going
of
to cut it.
films. And they can pay it forward by sharing our content and giving us a 5-star review, can't you? So yeah,
Can't
give us a
you?
plug on iTunes and SoundCloud.
I got through my Facebook the other day. It said you've had no new views.
Yeah, but we haven't posted on Facebook in a while.
No.
Although if you do want to find us on Facebook, it's Your Average Critics. I want to talk about talking about old films, a really old film by Stanley Kubrick called Doctor Strangelove, or How I Stopped, or How I, something about Doctor Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, something like that. It's got a very long, odd title. So it's one of those things like everyone bangs on about Kubrick, how amazing he is. So I was like, okay, I'll try and watch more of his films. So this film is from like 1964, something like that. It's a black and white film.
Mhm.
It's set in the Cold War, so obviously kind of zeitgeisty. It's about a British and American kind of intelligence group who basically become convinced that the Russians are about to explode a bomb. And so they send their kind of
Specialists?
elite squad to basically take out the Russians. And it gets to the point where, you know, they've got all these processes where once they've given this executive order, they can't take it back.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all these planes like flying, and then they basically realise that there was a mistake, or that one of the generals has just kind of become a bit of a megalomaniac and wants to just destroy the Russians. And then they're in like the war room, and then the president of America is calling the Russian president or prime minister or whatever, being like, "No, this was a mistake. Don't retaliate." And it's basically like it's not a spoof. It's like a satire, like a farce.
Okay, right.
So I mean, a lot of it's quite tongue in cheek and quite funny.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it ends with them everyone blowing up. But
Oh, really? Oh.
yeah, it was it was all right. It was quite a short film, maybe an hour and 40. And to be fair, like when you consider it was in the 60s and a lot of the kind of special effects work was done fairly well, I just didn't quite understand why it was called Doctor Strangelove, because Doctor Strangelove is a character in it, but he very seldomly appears. So I was a bit thrown by that title.
Is it a hidden meaning? Like, is it a metaphor for something? Is he always foreshadowing and?
No, he appears a couple of times, but
Oh.
not only towards the end of the film. I mean, I understand why it's called, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, but there was a funny part in it where Strangelove is like a German character, and they're like, "Oh, Strangelove, that's a strange name." It's like, yeah, but his name was Dr. Whatever the literal translation of Strangelove is in German. They're like, "Oh, his name was blah blah," but they decided to call him Strangelove. It was funny because they didn't realise.
Ha,
It meant
that's
the same.
hilarious, mate. Got to be.
Had to be there.
Had to be.
Had to be there. But as far as old films go, it wasn't too bad. It's available on Netflix.
How old was it?
From 1964.
64.
So it's, what, 50 odd years old? if my maths is correct. Not too bad.
Alright.
Right, what else have we watched?
What have we watched together? Anything recently?
Well, the stuff...
We've seen... I was going to say Kidnap, but Obi's probably not too bad.
Yeah, we'll wait for Obi. Do you want to talk us through Valerian?
Yeah, go on then. So it's about these two characters basically, and they work for. I suppose this. Oh, how do I explain it? They work for someone.
Is it like sorry,
Yeah.
But the trailer made this film look like a really shit version of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it did. It looked like a cross between Avatar and
because they actually work for like I suppose the government body, and basically this alien colony, this place, got blown up years ago, and this one was it an alien? Yeah, this alien lady like sacrificed herself to save the. Well, we don't know that. Basically, the whole planet blows up, and then this guy has this like, he's in like this dream state, and he just get like it's like it hit him, and he could see it all happen, kind of thing. I didn't really understand it. Then Valerian and this the woman, I've forgotten her name, the one who's played by
Cara Delevingne.
Yeah.
So isn't her name Laureline?
Yeah, probably. And basically, they're together, and you think they're like in love to begin with, and then you realise, oh, she's just messing about with him. But
allow it.
But they do actually genuinely really like each other. But she's just like, well, she's like, oh, well, I don't want to be another one of your conquests. And he's like, no, you're different. And she's like, how am I different? And then
is he a player?
They make him out to be at that brief moment, but that's about it. Like,
okay.
There's like the underlying story is they're like the love for each other, and like people pushing them towards each other and blah blah blah. But this whole thing is basically he does a mission for this government body to get back this creature, and then he sees this little diamond thing, and while he's in there, he sees two of the people from this species, and then he's like, what the hell, I thought they were dead, kind of thing. And it's just a little bit of a journey. He tries to follow this spacecraft. He gets trapped. She goes after him, even though the people said don't. She goes after him. She gets captured. He goes after her.
Classic.
And then basically, Rihanna's in it for a bit. Is it Rihanna?
Yeah. From your tone, I guess you didn't really like it.
It's alright. It was alright. As a film
it looks
goes,
like special effects wise, it looks amazing.
Amazing special effects.
Yeah.
Like, and it's got pretty nifty ideas as well. So like, I know it's based on the book, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like, they do this thing where if they shoot someone with this thing, they can put a helmet on and they can control that person's body. And then there's another thing where this whole city is holographic. You have to put on these glasses to see it.
Oh, okay.
And you have to do something and then put the items through a conveyor belt that you buy there, and it will come out as real life items. And basically, he puts his hand in a box. Puts his hand in a box. God knows, I can't even remember. But basically, for some reason, his hand gets stuck in this world, this city for a bit, and he has to like run away and like try and get out. And he's just running around this empty, sandy place. But he can see like holographic stuff, and if he did hit it, he would hit it in real life, and that was quite funny, that bit. But as a film goes, it was interesting. Again, it's not one of those films that I'd go out of my way to see again, but
I feel like it would have been amazing in 3D.
Oh, you in 3D, my god.
I don't really like 3D very much.
3D is dreadful.
No, but it looked like one of those things, like, because
just go 2D, 4D, skip the middleman.
Do you know what they should do?
No,
they shouldn't do it, actually. They should have like a massive like maze, yeah. Like they should make a maze. They should put a helmet on, and then you watch the film as you walk through the maze, like, and you're the character in first person, like almost like Hardcore Henry. But you're the person.
And if that's the future though, no cinema is just going to be people VR.
Should trademark that.
There's a
Trademark
film. I don't know what the film's called, but that's the storyline of a film coming out where it's like this, everyone, like overpopulation, everyone's like living in city blocks, but no one actually goes anywhere. They just like sit in rooms and their VR sets, and everyone communicates and is in this social world, and they can do anything they want.
Okay.
It's a bit like Sword Art Online, isn't it? Remember that anime we saw ages ago?
Yeah. Season 3 of that's coming out soon, or 4.
Oh, do you reckon it's going to continue after the film?
Yeah, it is, I think.
Oh, okay.
Same premise.
But so Valerian, like it's based. Yeah, you said it's based on it's a comic I think called Valerian and Laureline. It's kind of harsh on, kind of what's her face, Cara Delevingne's character. That her name is not, you know, because
they're
both central characters.
Yeah, they're both
I just wonder why it's called Valerian. Like, why do you have to make it about the male?
Because so basically, the alien that sacrificed herself puts like transcends something. Transcends.
Telepathic.
Something happens, and she essentially instills herself within Valerian. So that's why he's got this urge to like discover and like help them out, kind of thing.
Okay.
And basically, what they find out in the end is there was this massive war, and the sergeant or whatever his name, the colonel, who was telling them not to get Valerian back, and who was saying he basically restricted all access to the files, and he was like, no one go to this place, they're all dead, kind of thing. It was his fault that planet just got destroyed because he sent a missile, and I think either the explosion from the missile or the missile hit the planet and destroyed it.
Okay.
So all these people were all these aliens were trying to do was recreate their planet from this little tiny rock, and I was like, okay, cool.
And what people were trying to stop that planet being?
Just that man.
Because he blew it up.
Yeah.
But did he do it on purpose?
Yeah, he knew the consequences.
Okay.
But he said he did it for the greater good of the earth.
The greater good.
The greater good.
He was like, because if we don't, then our financial economy will go down to turmoil. And so, oh god.
Does it set anything up for a sequel?
There could be a sequel, yeah.
Would you watch a sequel?
Probably watch it. Will I actively go out to the cinema? Probably not. Will I wait for it to be on Netflix or something? Probably.
And how were the chemistry between Dane
Yeah,
DeHaan?
good, I think.
Really?
They had good chemistry.
Are they good actors?
Yeah,
Was their performance alright?
They seemed alright, yeah.
Because I don't know, because I thought Cara Delevingne was pretty terrible in Suicide Squad, and then I don't.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that's necessarily because.
I know that's probably not the best kind of context to put it in, but I don't know. And then Dane DeHaan, I just don't know if he's like a lead actor.
Yeah, he didn't do very well in Amazing Spider-Man 2, did he?
No, but he was the main character in A Cure for Wellness, which I saw.
Was that good?
That was really weird, man. It started off quite well. I mean, it's a very long film. It started off and then just goes really batshit crazy. Like, this girl is basically like in a relationship with like her dad or something, and like he like abuses her and stuff. It gets really, really odd.
Yeah.
But up until that point, it was quite atmospheric. But
Wow.
it just kind of went a bit nuts towards the end. But yeah, he was the lead in that, and I don't know if his performances yet are as strong enough to warrant him being lead character. So.
Hello.
Welcome, Obi.
Better late than never.
Yeah, that's all right.
No,
We've not talked about any of the stuff that
never mate.
you've seen. So
Which is what?
Oh, we talked about Valerian. We've talked about.
what that one with thingy.
Colour Delevingne.
talked about Jigsaw. We talked about Ollie finally told us about Pay It Forward.
Oh yeah.
And
Is it good?
Flatliners.
Yeah, mate.
It sounds good, but he said it's got a really bad ending.
Okay.
So now you're here, Obi.
Mm-hmm.
Before we talk about all the films that we've seen, Thor and Kidnap and Happy Death Day, all those. No?
I watched Kidnap, yeah. Well, I watched like an hour and 15 minutes of it. Oh my god, the film is terrible.
It's shit, isn't it?
So bad. Like, no, we'll talk about it in a minute. But that film was so bad. Right,
Yeah, I did warn you.
Oh my god.
I watched it. First out of
rubbish.
everyone. And I was like, oh, we've all got to watch this film. I felt
Jesus.
guilty. I didn't want to tell you how bad it was, but I did.
Mate, I haven't got to the end, but like,
It's shit.
I was struggling to get through
It's
the
not.
film.
You haven't got much longer.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
Wow.
But before
She
we
was annoying me, but I still enjoyed
Awful.
talk about that, I think we need to address. Well, we need to discuss at least the allegations that have been dogging Hollywood. Started off with Weinstein, people accusing him of sexual harassment, rape, all sorts of misdemeanors, and it's now kind of coming to light. Other actors, actresses, people from the industry coming out saying that other people have harassed them in the past, assaulted them, and the such. People who have been named, such as Kevin Spacey, Dustin Hoffman, Brett Ratner. These, at the moment, these are, people saying it. There's no kind of, I don't think any charges have been made, but Netflix have severed their ties with Kevin Spacey. So, I mean, they said they were already going to end House of Cards after Series 6. Now it looks like they're going to have to try and kind of progress the rest of filming without him. I don't know how they're going to manage that. I think, personally, they'll just scrap it altogether.
Have
you seen the...
Do you think?
Yeah, I think so. How are they going to... They can't kill him off because he's not going to come back and film anything.
Unless they make Claire president and make her the front.
Kill him off screen?
If they kill him off screen, it's just going to look like... I don't know. I think it's one of those...
It all depends on whether he's willing to come back to be killed off on the screen.
But we don't know how much filming they've done anyway for the new season.
But one of the seasons has just wrapped up filming.
Season 6?
It hadn't wrapped. They were in production because they halted production whilst these allegations were being investigated. But yeah, so it's definitely been like a watershed for Hollywood, and not just Hollywood, basically like music, arts, anything like that.
MPs.
Is it a case?
Politics.
I know.
Did you hear the thing that Busted came out with though? I think
Busted?
McBusted.
No.
Is that McFly and Busted?
Yeah. So basically, they said like they were like about like how they technically get sexually. I think this is them. Someone said it to me that they get like touched up by people in the crowd and stuff like mums and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but it wouldn't. It's not really frowned upon. But if it was the reverse, it'd be really frowned upon. Not saying either one's right. They're both wrong. But
yeah, is there a case of that it's basically for certain things, certain actions, how people perceive it? Because
what do you mean?
So you have like who's the MP that quit? And he was like, touching someone's leg was acceptable 15 years ago, or if people.
But she wasn't even upset. She wasn't even angry about it, was she? When he touched her leg, isn't it? Didn't she say it?
I don't know. I haven't read up on it, but people saying propositioning other people saying, do you want to fuck basically, and they're like no, and people can be quite persistent. Is for things like that, is there a argument that it's basically how you receive it? Do you know what I mean by that?
No.
So like if I'm like touch your leg.
Yeah, but your mates.
But it's like
it came up on the Graham Norton show when Adam Sandler like touched the I don't know the lady that he was next to. He like touched her knee. Some people were like getting up and about that, having a little hissy fit, and I was like, well, if they're colleagues and they're mates, there's probably no harm in that, right?
They didn't really know each other.
But it's basically if she took it the wrong way, then
like,
it becomes a problem.
But
if she's just brushes it off,
because I think she literally said to him, so I think she said on the show, don't touch my knee, I think.
Yeah.
And he was like jokingly like, okay then.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I should watch it again. But yeah, I mean, I suppose it is dependent on how you perceive it. I suppose.
Yeah.
What you interpret from that.
I think
that moment.
It does. Yeah, it does kind of probably depend on the relationship that you have with someone. Like, I wouldn't go if I was filming something or if I was on if I was Graham Norton, obviously Graham Norton being he's gay, right? Yeah. And another man come onto the show who you've never met and he's just like touching up his knee and stuff like that. If I was if me and Graham Norton were mates, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's cool, like, we're just friends. But if not, I'd kind of be like, what the hell are you doing? It'd be the same if it was a woman. It'd be the same if it was a man to a woman or a woman to a man. Yeah. Like, and I'm a person who especially doesn't like to be touched unnecessarily. So
you don't like people in your personal space.
Exactly.
Not after this weekend.
So shut up. So like, I think it does depend on how, like, because if you're fine with that, like, some people are completely fine with personal contact.
Yeah.
But obviously
that
you take the risk of doing that without knowing how that person's going to react.
These actors and actresses have felt uncomfortable, and they felt that they can't come forward and call them out on it because it will threaten their careers and.
Can I talk about that quickly? So this is the main point I wanted to make, the whole threaten their careers thing, right? So, the Kevin Spacey thing. Was it like 8 people or something? Was it on 10 on the House of Cards? House of Cards set after he hit the allegation against Kevin Spacey. 10 people come out and said, "Oh yeah, we've had the same sort of experience with Kevin Spacey," and it really annoys me that these 10 people have only waited till now for them to actually come out and say whatever. Like, I get that depending on what the altercation was. I don't know, like if it's serious or mild, whichever way you might view it. Depending on what it is, I feel like you need to come out and say it so, one, people know about this, and so, like, Kevin Spacey doesn't do it again, and two, like, just to take some, like, fucking control of your life. Like, you can't go into any industry, I don't think, thinking like, oh, if I don't do this, if I do this, if I let this person do this to me, I'm not, if I don't let this person touch me or do well or chat me up or whatever, I'm not going to get this part. Like, I'm not being funny, but, like, take some fucking pride in your own life. Like, you can't just go around in this industry being like, oh, I guess I suppose I have to let him kind of do this so that I get a chance, otherwise I won't be able to make away in this business. Make a way for your own back. Don't make a way through people being able to touch you and proposition you and da-da-da. Like, stuff like that properly winds me up.
But maybe they felt, you know, kind of really weak or inferior. You know, well, I don't know.
Have some pride. That's what I'm saying. Have some pride.
You don't know how manipulative these people could be.
How manipulative can you be? All they can say is, if it's me personally, all they can say is, in as whatever subtle way possible, you need to have sex with me. You need to do this for me, or you're not getting a part into the doing. If it's me, I'll be like, okay, bye, because it's not worth it. At the end of the day, it's not worth it at all. In my personal opinion.
So do you feel like these allegations are coming out too late, or that it's kind of...
Yeah, kind of. I feel like if someone's touching you up and you're uncomfortable with it, come out and say you're uncomfortable with it. Because I suppose it might affect badly on you in the industry and in the business, but at the end of the day, by coming out, you're protecting yourself and you're protecting other people from future incidents happening. Hopefully, anyway. From future incidents happening anyway. But whatever. So that's just my 2 cents anyway.
It gets to the point, and it's like all these people are like, oh yeah, you know, I kind of heard rumours or I knew about it. It's like,
and he didn't say anything.
You're complicit in this
Even
as well.
Fucking I saw a tweet on Twitter of a video, like someone saying, like, a tag, like, oh yeah, Seth MacFarlane knew about this whole Kevin Spacey thing years ago, and it was like a clip from an episode of Family Guy, and Stewie running through a shopping mall naked, saying, "Help me, I've been trapped in Kevin Spacey's basement." So obviously these sort of allegations have been happening for maybe a few years, like whispers around Hollywood. If you know about this, why are you keeping it quiet? Why are you making like snide little jokes about it?
Maybe it's the
don't know,
system.
I think that might have been pure coincidence, you know.
No.
I think no, he did the same thing with Weinstein, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, he made a speech, and he said something like
absolutely no way that's coincidence.
It seems like people have been.
That's just my opinion, by the way. I don't know.
People have been alluding to things for a while, but no one's ever explicitly come out and said it. Like Corey Feldman was an 80s child actor. He basically said that there was systematic child and just general sexual abuse in Hollywood, but he never came out and named his abuser. Same with, I think, Rose McGowan. You know, she said that she had been sexually assaulted.
Rose McGowan, was she on Charmed?
Yes, I think so. But now
she was
the fourth sister.
She was in she was in the film that Eli Roth directed called Planet Terror, if you know that.
No.
But now it seems like there's been a change and people are now actually naming their abusers or assaults. But does it get to the point where it's kind of, how do you prove? Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously the victims should be believed, but is there a case of you're innocent until proven guilty, or in cases like this, is it, you know, if you're accused, hopefully no one would ever make something like that up, and it's people are now having the confidence to come forward, and it's like, okay, well, you know, even though these problems are historic, at least it's kind of shedding light on this issue. I mean, there's so many people are now kind of getting pulled into it. Like,
didn't someone get accused of it and then there was no proof, and then
who? Do you know?
Is it Paul? No. I can't remember.
Well, I know Brett Ratner, who's a director. He, I think, is suing the people that are accusing him for like defamation.
Okay.
So you kind of think a reaction like that, you know, it would,
as opposed to Kevin Spacey's reaction saying, "Oh yeah, I'm gay."
Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing. It's like,
I don't know how he thought that was going to help him.
That's so offensive to the kind of LGBT community, because there's been, like, you know, people often conflate homosexuality with paedophilia, and he's basically
kind of reinforcing that.
It's okay that I touch up boys because I'm gay.
Yeah, like everyone, people have. It's like an open secret that people think Kevin Spacey's gay, but now he's using it to deflect all this, and it's just horrendous. And you just think like, how all these projects that people have got coming out and they're being accused. It's like it seems to spread far, and hopefully, it gets cut root and stem. But I think we'll be hearing about it for a very, very long time.
Probably. Well, as long as it stops people from taking advantage of these vulnerable people, then I guess it's a good thing. But at the end of the day, I suppose it is kind of like, when you get like to use a out there term, like when you get like rape victims and stuff like that, it's hard to prove if someone's telling the truth or someone's not telling the truth. It's like a miniature version of that.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like you have to kind of believe them at first, otherwise people are never going to come forward, are they? Chris, Ollie, you got any thoughts? Any extra thoughts on the matter?
Nah.
Stop abusing people.
Yeah.
Kevin, calling you out, mate.
Okay, well, I'm going to leave it there. Please feel free to discuss lighter-hearted things such as Thor Ragnarok.
Don't you want to talk about Thor really quickly?
I loved Thor Ragnarok. Yeah. I thought it by far the best Thor film, which isn't saying much. It's probably, it's definitely my top 10 Marvel. Don't know if it's quite my top 5, but I thought it was hilarious. I thought, the CGI was good. I liked having Hulk, more developed.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have been great if they hadn't revealed that Hulk was going to be in it?
Yeah, that would have been a much better.
Yeah, that would have been sick. But I think it's because someone saw Mark Ruffalo on set.
Oh, really?
I think that's why they don't do that kind of thing. Do you know, apparently 70% of it was, improvised. I was like, what the hell?
But I loved Korg as well. The kind of Maori...
He was voiced and done by...
Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Who's that, the rock guy?
The director.
Yeah. Hey, Brie.
I thought it was the other guy. I thought it was the guy from...
He's hilarious.
That film we watched. Free Fire.
No.
I
kind
of thought that was him as well.
Yeah. So when he's carrying that little weird alien thing, he's like, I stepped on him and he's dead, but I'm carrying him around anyway. That was a bit South African. I was trying to do Kiwi.
I thought he was South African. I'm not gonna lie.
I think he was supposed to be Polynesian.
Fair enough.
I don't know, but yeah, he's like, oh, he's alive. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. It was a good film.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed
him
it.
having his own movie.
I would watch a Korg movie.
Oh god, yeah.
God, please.
He would be a good sidekick though.
Well, hopefully he'll be in them.
But yeah, Glenn. See you later.
Peace.
Ciao, Bella.
See you later.
I'll see you.
Alright. So, Ollie, do you wanna?
Come no notes.
Either you want a drink?
Nah, I'm alright, mate.
It's all good.
So,
what are we talking about?
we're talking about Thor, mate.
We're talking about Thor. Alright, keep going.
Go on. What do you think of Thor?
Mate, I actually thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. So, as someone who doesn't like
Despite it being a Marvel
films.
film, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's because it wasn't so. I don't know. It was superhero, wasn't it? But it was more of a comedy, wasn't it? It was hilarious.
Did you like the cameos from Matt Damon?
Yeah.
That was the most random cameo.
We saw it. I was like, I know that face.
Yeah.
It's familiar.
And he was like all proper like pale.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was
so
funny.
Jokes.
Because I'm a bit like Glenn. Like I didn't really think either Thor film was particularly like fantastic. I thought the first one was pretty decent. Second one was not great, but that one was definitely the best one of the three so far.
Yeah, and it doesn't really have much of a connection with the first two, so it's kind of worked as a, because I haven't seen the first two, so it definitely worked well enough as a standalone film. And obviously, I think this is the last Marvel one until the Infinity War.
I think so.
Which is
Yeah.
next year?
No. Black Panther.
Black Panther, right? Yeah.
And then I think
Black Panther's what next year though, isn't it?
Yeah.
January.
Yeah.
Right.
February.
Yeah, no, Thor was really good.
Yeah. What do you think of the villain? Because people always say that Marvel villains aren't very good. So.
I think it was good. It was. Oh wait, who would you say the villain is?
I'd say
Except for the Goddess of Death, but obviously.
Except from her.
Yeah, because there was also that guy who who wanted to keep them on that planet.
What, Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah.
Are you actually recording still? Oh,
yeah, man. I don't know if would you count him as a villain? He
wasn't
a
really.
villain,
he wasn't really. He was kind of a needless character.
He was, but he made
Jeff Goldblum.
I think that was the point. I think
he made their situation that that they're like have to work together pretty much. But obviously the conflict was first of all it was between him, Thor and Hulk, and then it was between him and the Valkyrie, and it was also between him and him and his brother.
Yeah, I mean, he the guy on that planet, Jeff Goldblum. His character wasn't particularly menacing. He's feeling kind of like Oh, okay.
Well laid back.
Yeah, we've got Thor here. Okay, we're gonna use Thor. If Thor leaves, it's not the end of the world. I mean, we might send a few people for you, but if they don't catch you, it's okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was very soft.
Yeah.
As a villain. Whereas I thought that what was her name? Hela.
Hela, yeah.
Is it Hela?
I just thought the villains were so secondary to the whole thing, though.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But I liked her as a villain compared to like other.
Others, yeah.
other-
That was a surprise with Odin actually being pretty much a villain, wasn't it? It was like, this is how everything...
I really liked that actually.
It's
When
like,
she
this
tore
is
that,
why-
when she
this is
tore
why
down the
everything
thing.
is gold.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
people so, like,
That was quite cool. I liked that.
Yeah.
that was a good twist.
Surprised, it's kind of dumb, though. Like, you'd think, right, instead of putting stuff over it, when you just destroy it and then
Well, yeah.
put it back up. Well, cool, whatever. I mean, she had so much power. She was so
Yeah.
OP. And
Yeah.
then what did she get beaten by the end? Oh, that...
Thingy destroyed the planet. Sarah.
Yeah.
Destroyed the whole of Asgard.
Like the devil or something.
Yeah.
It was huge.
No,
I was sorry. I
Go on.
wanted to quickly jump ahead, on that bit because obviously Loki goes downstairs to put the thing in the pit of fire.
Yeah.
Do you think he took the stone?
I
100%.
believe he took the stone
100%.
because I think the way the film ended sets it up. So I think if I believe I'm right, there's been a trailer for something. Can you see? Has anyone seen it? And you see,
Infinity
Thor. You
And
see
Thor's in space.
Yeah, and he smashes into the Guardians of the Galaxy's ship.
Yeah.
So my assumption is that Loki picked up the Tesseract, which is one of the Infinity Stones. In which case, that means that was the Tesseract one of the Infinity Stones?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? So in which case, then that's Thanos' massive ship. He's basically
In the post-credit scene, yeah.
Yeah, he's basically effed them up, but he probably hasn't killed them all. He's probably smashed up Thor, knocked him into space,
Mate,
and then taken the ship.
What absolute peak if like Thor goes through all of that, gets his home planet destroyed to save his people, Asgard as his people, to then them all getting destroyed on a ship straight away.
I really liked how Thor lost his eye and they actually like left him with a
Yeah.
I'm
eye.
peeved that he's got
Are you actually?
Yeah,
What?
I don't get it. It doesn't in the comics. So what?
I don't know. I think it's because his dad.
like-
his
yeah,
dad,
yeah,
yeah.
his dad.
So it's kind of
To
making
be
an
fair,
homage to
To
Odin.
be fair though, I'm sure Doctor Strange can fix that somehow.
He probably will. I hope he doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't. But he
Pretty
probably
much.
will. What do you think of the Doctor Strange cameo? Did you like that?
I liked it, but at the same time, it's really annoyed me
Why?
because Doctor Strange is now so really powerful.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because of that place he was in,
Yeah.
but he's just so overpowered now.
Mm.
Which I'm like, has it been that long since you started up? I don't know now.
The thing we don't know how much time.
Time's
Obviously,
passed.
we know like a year has passed
Yeah.
since the last film, but we don't actually know how much time has passed
Since
in the actual film time.
bar him being overpowered, I thought it was quite a good little cameo.
Yeah,
to have
I liked it.
in
I thought it was funny,
Yeah.
like the way he kept changing scenery and Thor couldn't handle it. He was like dropping his drink and all stuff
Yeah.
like that. And then when he releases Loki, he's like, I've been falling for 30 minutes. I thought that was pretty funny as well.
Yeah.
Speaking of Loki, I feel like he is like the MVP of whatever film he's in, basically.
You think?
I really do. Like, I think if he wasn't in these Thor films, plus Avengers as well, I think they would be so much worse. I just think his character is maybe it's probably due to
He's like an anti-hero.
yeah.
Or something.
He's not even really an and because he's pretty much always bad. Like he pretty much always does the same
He's
thing.
fun though, isn't he?
But I think because his character is so charming, you just really
Yeah.
Tom Hiddleston puts a good spin on it. I really like Loki, even though he's obviously a terrible person. But yeah, I think like every film he's in, basically, like every Marvel film he's in, he makes it better. Like, and there's no coincidence that I think, I don't know if you guys agree, but he's been the best villain of any Marvel film. Like, out of all of them so far, I think in Avengers 1. Disagree? Agree?
Well, Spider-Man's Marvel, isn't it?
Yeah.
I kind of, I'm a sucker for Spider-Man, so
Fair enough.
I like the Vulcan or Vulture or whatever.
Vulture, I think it was.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree Loki though, because I can't think of any really good ones.
Because they're not great.
Quite
Marvel
easy to
villains, yeah,
push
they're
over, aren't
they're
they?
pretty rubbish.
I thought it was quite funny how when Thor came back at the beginning and Loki was pretending to be the dad.
Yeah.
And then he did all that play and stuff. And Matt
And he
Damon was in it.
Yeah, he literally just said that was like the weirdest cameo I've ever seen.
It all makes sense now because basically there's a chat show called is it Jimmy Kimmel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has this like ongoing pretend feud with Matt Damon, and he might have Matt Damon on the show, and Matt Damon sneaks onto the show and stuff. And he was in the dress room with Tiger Waititi, how did you say his name?
Taika Waititi, I think.
Yeah, him for Chris Hemsworth and I think the guy who plays Loki as well.
Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, and he was just there like messing about, and I was like, why the hell would you even be there?
Yeah.
Now it makes sense. So
Yeah, that was funny. And even like when Loki like disguised as Odin, he sees Thor and he's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So even some of that, I think
Just to see Anthony Hopkins go.
exactly. Like the joke, I think they did like more than probably maybe Guardians was the only one. Guardians 2, sorry, was the only one, but they did try to put like a lot of humour in it.
yeah.
Which I think most of it paid off, I would say.
Yeah.
But there was this woman behind me who was cackling at everything. Oh, yeah, we saw this girl. The woman behind us was cackling at every single joke. I was like, it's not that funny. Like, it's pretty funny, but it's not like
funny,
laugh out loud. Like, do you know what I mean? But no, I thought it was really decent.
I wanted to ask about. Sorry, I'm jumping in, but
Go
I
on.
wanted to ask about. So, when Hulk was fighting that huge dog,
Mhm.
he got bitten in his leg, and it was like quite gruesome that they like zoomed in on it because it was like the fucking tooth going all the way in.
Mm.
So, like when he turns back to Mark Ruffalo, is it gonna just be like a
Nah.
mosquito bite?
No. He just won't have anything.
He won't have anything.
Nah.
I thought like Hulk was indestructible. Like,
He is, isn't he?
He is pretty much. I mean, you can, but like, so for example, the Inhumans guy. You watched it?
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So he basically, if he talks, he
What?
I watched the first episode where he talks and kills his parents.
Oh, that was bare funny. I was cracking up.
I was like, what the hell just
Mate,
happened?
that was
But
hilarious.
basically, if that guy speaks at Hulk, he'll break Hulk's arms and legs, kind of
Oh.
situation.
Yeah.
So Hulk
Right.
isn't indestructible, because I think there's even I think Joe mentioned it. There's a time where Hulk, like,
Well,
eats
Tony's
Wolverine, and then Wolverine cuts him out from inside out.
Mm.
Because like Tony Stark has that like vision of Hulk dead, innit, with like loads of harpoons in him or something. Like,
He has a vision of all of them.
and-
Like,
and-
Oh,
loads
in
of-
Avengers- in
and
Avengers
that's,
2.
that's supposed to be like
In
I
a
think
bit.
so.
A
Yeah,
premonition
like
of
of
what's
the
gonna happen,
Infinity
yeah.
War
Okay.
fighting Thanos or whatever.
Interesting. Alright.
Interesting.
Any other thoughts on Thor?
I thought
What
it
do you
was
think?
cool.
What do you think of the story as a whole? Like
I
Asgard being destroyed, and you know.
thought it's quite good, because they just seem to be such omnipotent people,
Yeah.
and it's quite good to see that they do have a weakness. If they
Yeah.
don't have their almighty god, then
Mm.
what I didn't really understand was how Odin,
Mm.
so powerful, got manipulated by Loki, and then you soon realise that he actually wasn't manipulated by Loki. He was just chilling out on Earth,
Yeah.
and then the fact that because he wasn't on Asgard, his daughter was then going to rise, and they didn't really give any explanation as to why. Because his presence was there, she
Yeah.
didn't come up. And then, like, what I also didn't get was he was very unhelpful.
Who? Odin.
Odin, like he literally just died
Yeah.
like that with no
Yeah.
explanation,
Yeah.
and he didn't explain to Thor or Loki really how to stop the daughter. He was just like, "Oh right, you are super powerful. You are the god of thunder,
Mm.
and I do love you, my mischievous son," kind of thing. I was like, okay,
Mm.
right.
Yeah.
But besides that, it's a standard story, isn't it? There's a big bad villain that you can't defeat.
Mm.
You go on your journey of self-discovery. You come back. In this case, you don't beat the villain.
Yeah.
You get someone else to
Do you
do
think
it.
she's still alive? Do you think she'll make an appearance in another film again? Probably not.
Well, this is the problem I've got, yeah. Because she called herself the goddess of death, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
So is she the entity death? No, she's not. No, silly. Well, this is it. Because Thanos is in love with the entity death.
Okay.
So if she's deaf, then I assume she is still alive.
Maybe.
But if she's not, then I don't know why they called her. What? I guess they called her the goddess of death because she killed loads of people, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was decent.
I liked it. It's probably not in my. It's definitely not. No, it's definitely not my top 5. It's probably somewhere around like the 8 to 12.
What are we on now?
Region.
Is this number 17?
Oh god,
18?
I have no idea, mate. I have no idea. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's one of them ones where I watched a trailer and I was thinking I'm probably gonna enjoy this, and I did. So
Yeah,
it did what it was supposed to, really.
that's it. Yeah, exactly.
And I think Thor is like one of the more like.
Because he's such a simple character.
Yeah.
I think it's funny how having humour in it.
Yeah, exactly.
And he plays off it quite well as
Yeah.
well. And yeah.
I think there's not even that many jokes. It's just kind of like the way the lines are written and the way he's obviously like they say it's done improv.
Yes.
Well, a lot of it's done improv, so that's why you can see like the way there was kind of like the way they say the lines just makes
Yeah.
it makes it funnier.
I thought Idris was good as well in it.
Yeah, he was decent.
Yeah,
I quite like
his
him in this
character
film.
as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
So, I like him with dreads as well. It looks good. It's good with dreadlocks. But yeah, any other thoughts about
No, mate.
No?
No, mate. It was good.
Glad
It was-
I'm glad Ollie
this is a-
enjoyed it.
it was
Yeah.
a solid Marvel film. Yeah, there wasn't like overkill on the battles. I mean, it was still quite crazy, but it wasn't like an hour long. Guardians of the Galaxy just seemed so long and tedious.
I was just saying, the only problem with Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was that bloody villain was so rubbish.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it wasn't great.
they exchanged. I can't remember. They didn't really lose anything because they exchanged with Fox to get that character. They exchanged. Is it Negasonic Warhead, teenager person?
Okay.
Is that the one from Deadpool?
I don't know.
Oh.
What, the girl?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, whatever her name is. But they exchanged that for the Living Planet. Ego's Living Planet.
The Living Planet.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I did think at the end that they were going to bump it, like the end credit scene. I thought they were going to bump into the Guardians of the Galaxy, but
I suppose that's the intro to another one, isn't it?
yeah. Yeah. What's the next Marvel film? Black Panther. Which
Really?
looks alright. We'll get ready for that. But then after that, is it Infinity War after that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Decent. Alright.
But we've got Justice League in 2 weeks. 17th.
Oh yeah.
Boo.
Yeah.
And Punisher.
Justice League's gonna be. I actually think Justice League's gonna be really good.
I think they're gonna make it humorous, so it'll be better.
I think it's gonna be really good.
I think as much as I don't think Ezra Miller is gonna play the perfect part as the Flash, I think he's gonna be like this ditzy character, and it's gonna be funny.
Right.
And I think.
But they kind of made it out to be like such a dark film because like Batman, like for the Dark Knight, that kind of series is like really like quite, you know, like I don't know, it's just like I'm trying to think of another word to describe it other than dark and like.
I know what you mean.
A bit like because like the Batman Gotham is like gothic, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's that kind of like story. So the Justice League, I thought they were. I don't know.
I reckon. I think they did change the. I reckon the tone has probably changed from the. Because obviously was it Zack Snyder who was directing it before?
Yeah,
and
well,
now,
he still is, I think. And then
Josh
Whedon came in to help.
So I reckon Josh Whedon coming in to help. I reckon that they've changed the tone quite a bit because of that. Because obviously the Marvel films are a lot lighter than the DC films are. So I reckon they're trying to put a bit of a lighter tone on it. Because they said people thought, apparently this is a collective thought, that Batman v Superman was too dark. I don't know if they mean that actual like visually or if they mean that tone wise, but. I mean, I didn't think it was particularly too dark for the film. It wasn't very good.
Yeah, that's it. The film wasn't great, was it? So.
I feel like I should watch. I don't know why, but I feel like I should watch it again.
You can borrow it if you want.
I might do just to see like if I still think it's shit, basically. But I don't know. But yeah, I think it'll be pretty good. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. But yeah. So, what else have we got to talk about?
What else we got? Well, what have we seen? You haven't seen Kidnap.
No, but I've seen Stranger Things. I've seen Arrow. I've seen Flash. I've seen.
Have you seen Blade Runner?
No. But you two can talk about.
We've seen Happy Death Day. We've all seen that.
Oh yeah, I've seen Happy Death
Day.
Day.
Yeah. Alright. Happy Death Day. So this is a film about a girl who basically who dies on her birthday, and she keeps reliving that day, and realizes that in order for her to move past this day, she needs to find her killer.
Yeah.
Basically. And it's
pretty much.
It's about an hour and a half of that. So, I thought, going into this film, I thought that I wasn't going to enjoy it. I thought it was going to be, oh yes, like a film that, you know, like a throwaway one, sort of like, oh yeah, I saw it, it wasn't great, we'll move on. But actually, by the end of it, I actually really thought it was a pretty decent film. And it's kind of film I wish was like a screen unseen. Because it would have been a lot better. We haven't talked about this. We need to talk about that quickly because we haven't talked about the screen unseen that we last saw. It was terrible.
Go for it.
It was a terrible film. No, let's talk about Happy Death Day. Let's talk about that first. But yeah, I thought it was a decent film. Good, decent bit of humour. And
I don't know why I don't know why I thought you guys wouldn't like it.
Yeah, I've got to say that actually, of all the movies this year, that's like up there as for
really
fucking good film.
I thought it was really clever. But I genuinely...
I didn't see the plot twist coming.
Did you not?
I didn't see it at all.
We were like...
Yeah, literally.
Looking at each other.
From the get-go, I was like, right, let's think up about this girl.
Yeah.
And as soon as... Do you know... Because I thought there was something funny about her. As soon as I saw that she was in a hospital, like, she worked in a hospital, I was like, that's going to be it. I wish I'd said it. I wish I'd said something to you guys in the chat. Because I was like, yeah, I've got to say something just to hint, and then hopefully I'll be right. But then I was like, oh, no, if they watch it, then I've given it away kind of thing. But yeah...
because she doesn't actually. So trying to find out who's her killer, she never does follow her roommate, does she?
Yeah.
So it's like
the roommate is so.
She thinks she's just working.
Yeah, the roommate appears to be like super nice, like no grudges against her and everything. So like she doesn't even think to look for her, and she goes after like having other people. I think she did it like 16 times or something, wasn't it?
Was it
15 or 16 times? I think she said.
Yeah.
Is the amount of time she tried to.
The thing is though, yeah. Can I just say, she could have handled that a little bit better. And she probably should have just died again, done a perfect day again, and then killed her.
She might not come back because she was getting weaker and weaker.
True.
So yeah, every time this girl died and came back to life, she was getting weaker. So there was one point where she died, came back, and then she went to the hospital. I think because she was so weak. And then the doctor was looking at her X-rays and saying, like, basically, like, you should be dead because of all, like, the lacerations and stuff in your body. So, like, scars from her getting stabbed all the time. So, yeah, she might not have made it if she'd done it again. But...
This girl was a psychotic killer, though. Like, she killed policemen.
Yeah.
She just got away with it.
But no, this thing...
Yeah,
no. So, like, me and Ollie were saying... So, like, the time before she actually found the killer. So, when she thought that she found the right guy... She just basically went to hospital and murdered someone because the guy hadn't attacked her yet.
Yeah.
So she just went.
Yeah. So she went, got the cop to leave to say that this guy's going to escape.
Yeah.
Goes in the room. So
attacks him for technically. Well, not attack. Well, he attacked her, but she approached him and then he attacked her and then she killed him. So she committed at minimum she committed manslaughter. And she was just in her dorm room like 3 hours later eating a cupcake, which kills her. But me and I were just like, what the hell? But yeah.
But the same thing happens again when she kills her.
Yeah, she committed manslaughter again. Like, you can say it's self-defense, fair enough. But like, I mean, she seemed to be pretty happy about it. I mean, obviously,
I like it because like
suppose
the
if
end
you
of that
died,
day, she was at the cafe with like a new boyfriend or whatever, just talking about it.
Better twist would have been that she was just stuck in that day forever.
I did think to be fair, when I thought that when she ate the cupcake and she died in her sleep and woke up, I thought that the twist was going to be that she was just in an everlasting loop of that day.
No, he played that trick on her, didn't he? That was so funny.
The trick at the end. That was hilarious. But no, I thought it was
like he like put the alarm on and he was like, no, I'm just kidding.
No, that's not funny. But one thing I didn't get was why she the bit where she just decided to get naked and walk around campus. Why'd she do that? What was the need? What was the need for that?
It's funny because no one's gonna remember.
I guess, but it was super unnecessary. I mean, is what it is, I guess. But yeah, no, it was funny. There was some good laughs in there. And it's one of the films there where like I was just unexpectedly surprised by how much I liked it. So yeah.
Good film.
Yeah, really good. I can't think of anything worse though as being trapped in the same day over and
Awful.
over. Like this, it's have you seen that film with Tom Cruise, Live Die Repeat, or
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow?
Edge of Tomorrow,
yeah.
Well, no, it's Live Die Repeat now.
Is it? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they changed it, didn't they? Yeah, that was a strange one, but that was just right.
Doing a second one of
I
those.
like that film too.
They really?
Yeah. Live Die Repeat Repeat.
It's actually called that.
Joking.
Yeah.
That's
No,
jokes.
I'm being serious.
That's jokes. But so yeah. Any other words to say about?
What would you rate it?
I'd say it's a solid 7.
Yeah.
Solid 7.
Yeah.
7.
I'll give it an 8.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, man.
Fair enough. All right. I want to quickly glance over the screen unseen that me and Chris. So me and Chris saw 2 screen unseens.
Yeah.
One was.
Did we talk about one?
We didn't talk about Death of Stalin, but I don't really want to talk about it. To be
Okay,
honest.
well,
do you want to
I'll
talk
just
about
quickly
Go
go.
on.
Death of Stalin. If you like the humour that they brought along, then you'd probably give it like a 10 out of 10. However, I did not like the humour.
No.
Nor did I understand why they made a film based on Death of Stalin.
It was just.
What do you mean? Like understand the humour? Like
I think
Like,
it
it
was
was
quite British humour.
dry and
Yeah,
sarcastic.
It's
or-
quite dry,
Dry,
I think. Yeah.
And it was just like.
Is it like a Ricky Gervais kind of dry?
I don't know.
I
Not
can't
really.
really stand his humour.
I don't know.
Basically, what I need to find out, which I still haven't done, is if the events that happen in the film were actually true events that happen in real life.
I think they were.
Because if they were, then I've learnt something, and that gives the film an extra little bit of rating. Otherwise,
Fact.
it was just like a boring film.
I
Like,
thought it was
I was
quite
just
boring.
like, it wasn't for me.
It
It's
just-
as simple as that, really.
I just didn't understand because they were.
Because there's no superheroes over
No,
there.
because they were taking the film as if it was kind of like like we're doing like a parody of this of Russia or wherever it was in the 1950s or 40s, whatever year it was, or 60s, I don't know. And like we're gonna make this really funny, bit of comedy, and then at the end they give you like subtitles to say, yeah, this happened in this year, this happened in this year, he did this in this year, to make it seem like it was a factual film. I just didn't really understand what they were trying to do, and from the start, every character in this film is Russian. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And they're all speaking English in American accents.
I thought it was like a play because obviously USA and Russia have this kind of beef between each other for so long. So I thought Hollywood was just trying to poke. Because obviously with Trump and everything going on with the Russian inquiry, they're just like poking the bear, aren't they?
I guess, but I just
doing
didn't,
a
I
film
just didn't
about
get
the
it.
death of Stalin, one of their leaders,
I
and they're
guess.
all speaking.
Yeah, maybe.
English.
I just thought it was rubbish.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Personally, I just
There
didn't
was
like
one
it.
bit that I saw, like, there was loads of laughing from the other people in the cinema, but there was only one bit I laughed at, and that's the bit where, like, they're like...
Is it like a woman gets slapped?
No.
They're like grappling each other, and the guy just won't let go. They won't let go of each
Because
other.
it went on for that little bit too long,
Yeah.
and it just made me laugh. So that's the thing. That's like British humour, I would
Yeah.
say. But no, that made me laugh.
So-
But yeah,
That was one devastating.
that wasn't
like,
great. That was good. What would you rate that?
5.
I'd probably give it like a 4.
It's
Yeah.
only because it's factual in a
Yeah.
way, and I laughed at two bits.
Pretty terrible.
But you
It
don't
doesn't take a lot
I
to give you,
genuinely-
for you to give a film a 5.
Yeah, no. It's literally like I've had 3. So I went to Scream Unseen, which was poor. I went to these 2 Screen Unseens, and they're poor. How many have we seen? 5. I've seen 5. What was the other one? Minehorn and
Baby Driver.
Baby Driver. Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's up there. Minehorn was funny. That was British humour I can get with. But I didn't think it'd get worse, honestly. Like, and then we had this film.
So we saw the Florida Project, which I guess is a film that's supposed to show poverty, I guess, in Florida. Like, I think it's supposed to do a bit like a juxtaposition of like poverty, because obviously people when they think about Florida, they think about like Orlando, Disney World, that sort of thing. And I think it's supposed to, and I think this hotel place was supposed to be located near to Disneyland. So it was kind of like a juxtaposition of these people who were living in like poverty and stuff, kind of, as opposed to people who come to Florida to, you know, spend shitloads of money, have fun, So like there's even a bit, so like this basically is centered around these kids, like the main little girl, probably like 6 or 7 years old. This little girl called Mooney, and her mum, I want to say Haley, but I'm not sure if that's right, and her mates, and they're basically it's like showing them like basically their struggles of like basically they've got their money, the mum hasn't got a job, and like they just can't really afford to either live or eat because but to live the mum ends up becoming a prostitute to obviously get money for rent and for food. They basically got their mum.
It sounds deep already.
It's not, but
It's not. They did.
I mean, it is. If you look past it, I suppose it is deep. But when I was watching it, when I watch films, I'm a very like straightforward person. Like what I see is what I see. I don't think
like interpret it.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to watch films that I have to.
That's like South Park though. Like,
but thing is, like, I think like for me that there I saw that there was like. Because I've been in Florida and I've been on the road where you see like loads of motels and stuff, and it's like they're literally in the middle of like nowhere. There's like just roads and like you've got these. It's centralised around this kid called Mooney, like we said, and it's like it's almost like she doesn't know what to do with herself, so she has these little adventures, and they're not really adventures.
They're just playing, to be fair.
And it's
like they're on summer holidays. So.
Yeah, and like so. A big thing that happens in it is they accidentally burn down a house.
Which was random and also very inconsequential.
Yeah.
Like they burnt down the house, and as a result, the only thing that happened was, so there was 3 kids at the start. Mooney, I can't remember the boy's name, friend. And there was two boys.
Yeah.
One of the boys moved away, and then they brought in another girl from a motel like across the road, to be part of their like friendship group. And then those 3 collectively burned down the house. And the only consequence of that was that the boy who lit the match to burn down the house, his mum said, "Oh yeah, you can't be friends with these lot anymore."
However, I feel like we might have missed a bit, and the fact that the only reason that social services were called round to the motel was because of that woman.
Yeah.
So it all did tie in, didn't it? So that the kid not talking to the girl then led the mum not giving the food to the mum and daughter, so then led to the mums having a fight, which then led to the mum who got beaten up. Telling the police essentially about the other mum being a prostitute, which then led to the kid being taken away. We can talk about the ending later because I know he hated the ending. Yeah. But I just like, as a film, like you feel for the kids, like, because obviously they haven't got a lot, and it's not their fault they haven't got a lot. But they're making the best of what they got, and like they hit home about a few things, like the motel owner. He's obviously struggling a little bit himself, like trying to maintain everything because his manager wants everything in specific ways, and then he looks after the kids on his CCTV because he's like checking everything, and he sees stops a paedophile pretty much from like molesting them essentially, and so like obviously it hits home on those few things because maybe they're more prevalent in them places.
Yeah.
So, but as a film, like it was getting 5 stars.
Oh really?
And it's just not good.
So like, I think as a film, most films for them to be good, I think there needs to be like a clear plot or narrative, and the either protagonist or antagonist needs to be. You wouldn't root for them. They need to be like likable.
Yeah, but you never get those. Are never the films that get 10 out of 10 and 100%, are they?
I feel like they are though.
No, because
what's your favourite film?
Lord of the Rings.
Is there not a clear protagonist and a clear plot in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, but
so then what are you saying?
I don't know. Maybe I'm not explaining it, but like obviously the Oscars movies that sometimes there isn't really. It isn't always such a clear. It's not always clear cut, but they say that because of the subject that they may be talking about, that is a 10%, 100% movie.
I get that, but for me, I'm saying for me personally, that's just how I like to view my films. And for me, I kind of spent the whole film thinking like, okay, where are we gonna get to the bit where I realise what's happening, like what they want to do, because we were just kind of like following these kids like having like playing, and I was a bit like. I don't really get what and from the start, like the kids seem kind of awful to be honest because they just start spitting on this woman's car, and from then I was like, I don't like these kids.
And they swear
these kids were so ill behaved. I was like, I don't like these kids. The mum is terrible. The mum hasn't got a job, like, and she just seems like a despicable person. She clearly can't raise her kids because her kid is a brat, like. I like the girl who did the job as actor. Like she was pretty decent. I'll give her that. But the actual character of Mooney, I didn't like her. She was a brat. So was the other kid, and so was the ginger kid. Like they just couldn't. They couldn't even sit still. It just irritated me.
Tell me about the ending.
So So you get to all the way to basically the
kid's about to be taken away. By social
services, and she runs to her friend's house basically to like crying.
So it doesn't explain what's happened either.
She just says like, this might be the last time I see you again, so I need to say goodbye. And she's like crying, and then the other girl grabs her hand, and then they run away, and the camera style changes to like if you're filming it through an iPhone, and you just see that like, and it speeds up to probably like 1 or 2 times fast, but all you hear then is music like film music, not in the film music, if you know what I'm trying to say. And it's just them running, and then they get to Disneyland, and they run into Disneyland, and the film ends. At which point I was actually like, okay, this film is average. Like I would give this probably a 5 or a 6. When the way that ended, I give it a 1. Like it just didn't make sense to me. I was just like, what did I just watch? Like this makes no sense. And people are like, oh yeah, like I was reading people review it on Twitter and stuff, and they like loads of people loved it, loads of people hated it. People were saying like, oh yeah, you need to interpret the ending. It's open ended. It's like a juxtaposition of people going to Disneyland to make their dreams come true, and these girls trying to escape to a world to forget about their troubles. Blah 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 blah. And I don't give a fuck about that. Like genuinely, I didn't give a shit. Like if they'd made the film about if they centered the film around the mum and her struggling to get a job and then having to resort to prostitution to feed their kids, and then maybe social services take her kids away and she's got to fight to get them back, that would have been a better film for me personally, rather than watch these brats run around and cause terror.
This is literally the most pointless film.
I just did not like it.
Worst film of the year?
Yeah,
it's up there.
Really?
It's genuinely up there.
I'm giving it
Ouch.
a 2 out of 10.
It's genuinely up there. It's such a
and it's fucking lucky to get a 2.
I just didn't like it. I can kind of understand why some people like it, because like I feel like a lot of people are, because it's kind of like abstract. So I get why a lot of people who are more like, I suppose, artsy and creative, that sort of side of their brain, will like that film. But that's not me. I'm not a creative guy. I'm a practical, like what I see is what I see sort of guy. So I like films that are
entertaining,
and I can clearly see where they're going, or at least I can guess where they're going. With this film, there was no narrative. Anyway, it was rubbish.
I never understand why they do, like, the most entertaining movies aren't always, like, the most top rated.
What do you mean?
So, like, the Marvel films, I don't know what they are rated as, but, and obviously they're making absolute tons of money, but, like, entertaining wise, I'm sure that people find them very entertaining, but I guess that's not what they look for in a movie, do they? They're like, oh well, it's got to have this deeper meaning.
Oh
It's
yeah,
got to
yeah.
be reflective of current
The
society.
metaphors and
Like, no, you can't have a superhero movie as 10 out of 10 because it's so, it's fiction. Oh well, anyway.
But yeah, I wasn't a fan of that film
Don't watch
in
it.
the slightest.
Don't watch it.
So,
What do you give it? Out of 10?
Consumer advice.
because I'm battling myself if what I think was worse. It was between of the worst films I've seen this year. It's either this, Sleepless, or Transformers. And I think Sleepless. I'm disregarding Sleepless
Sorry.
because
This is the worst.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Because I think Transformers was so genuinely
Yeah,
bad.
but at least there was an A to B in Transformers.
Yeah, I suppose.
It didn't make sense, but there was an A to B.
Yeah, I'll probably give it a 2, to be honest. Up until the ending, I would have given it 5. I would have said, yeah, this is average.
Nah, he's being generous. I was giving it 2 the whole way through.
But, yeah. Crappy film. Anyway,
Enlighten news.
moving on. Ollie, do you want to talk about anything you've watched this week?
No, I've already talked about some of the films that I've watched. What you haven't talked about what you've watched?
Okay. I watched a film called Ingrid Goes West.
Oh!
The other day. It's on there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are you going to watch it, Chris?
I will, but you can talk about it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
So,
Let them know spoilers.
yeah,
No, spoil it. No,
I
go
won't
on.
spoil
No,
it.
you
No,
can spoil it.
I can talk about it without spoiling it.
No, because it'll take me ages to watch it, so just spoil it.
He hasn't even seen what happens on Monday.
Have you not?
No.
And you suggested it. Fucking
No.
hell, Chris. That was like a month ago, if that, maybe longer.
I got to the bit where he's chopping off their fingers.
Oh, okay. So at least you started watching it.
Yeah.
But okay, so Ingrid Goes West is a film starring Aubrey Plaza. I think she was in Legion, and she's in Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates.
Oh yeah.
O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's son, and Elizabeth Olsen. I think she's the other Olsen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Elizabeth Olsen. So basically, it's about this girl who her mum was her best friend. We don't see her mum in the film, but we're led to believe that her mum was like her best friend, and her mum gets ill and she dies, and so she can't. This is the way I'm interpreting the film anyway. She kind of has to fill this void left by her mum by gaining like a new best friend, and the way she does that is she tries to do it through social media. So the way the film starts, it's like people like it, people. So like you're reading the comments of an Instagram post, but it's people like saying it out loud, and like you hear loads of like double clicking like to like a picture and stuff like that. And the way the film starts is basically the lead character Ingrid, she goes to a wedding and she says to this girl, "Thanks for inviting me, see you next Tuesday," and she sprays her with pepper spray and she gets sectioned and she gets sent to a mental institution. And then it's like her, and then it goes to like her voiceovering, writing I think a letter or an email to this girl that she pepper sprayed, saying like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I know we're really good friends. I didn't mean to react like that." Blah 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 blah. Saying like, "Oh, like sorry, like your friend Ingrid." Da, da, da. She always signs it off, your friend Ingrid.
Right.
And then you find out like 10 minutes later that her and this girl were never friends. The only thing that happened was that after her mum died, I think she liked one of her posts on Instagram. And so she took that as them being like good friends. So at which point you realise this girl's a bit loopy.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you realise that right at the start of the film when she pepper sprays the girl. But yeah, so then she basically like it goes into like a mode of depression until she finds this woman's Instagram. This is Elizabeth Olsen. She finds her Instagram and she starts like liking pictures and stuff like that. And she like thinks like, oh yeah, I want to be this girl's friend. And I think something along the lines of like there's a picture of food of Elizabeth Olsen's food on Instagram, and she's like wondering what to say as a comment. And one of the things that made me laugh was that she typed out, "Oh my god, that looks so good. ... What's your email address?" Which probably made me laugh. But then she scrapped it, and she in the end wrote something along the lines of, "That looks so good. Where'd you get it from?" or something like that. And then Elizabeth Olsen, what's her name? Taylor, I think her name.
I'm not sure.
What?
So that was Chris's Amazon thingy. So Taylor says, oh yeah, it's this place in LA. You should try it next time you're here. And she takes that as an invitation for her to just pack up and move to LA to try and basically she moves all her stuff. She gets her mum dies and leaves her $60,000, and she gets that money. She moves to LA. To try and basically be this woman's friend, and basically she just goes through a whole ordeal of like recreating her life, so she's kind of like exactly like her. So she gets her hair done the same way, she shops where she shops, she eats where she eats, and all stuff like that.
Psycho.
And yeah, she's
literally
like
gonna kill them
like,
and take their identity, isn't it?
like trying to find out where this woman's gonna be so that she can just casually bump into her and then begin friends. So the way she does that, basically, she steals the woman's dog, and then brings her up so she can bring the dog back, and then she gets to talking to them and they become friends and blah blah blah.
That'd be so great if she was like, "Oh, I'm so glad I've got rid of that dog." Like, no, you keep it.
so yeah,
That'd be Glenn, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
literally. Where was I? Sorry. So yeah, they become friends. She has to basically like lie to keep up this facade of, because she's not the person that she's pretending to be, but she just really, really, really badly wants this woman to be her friend. So she's like going to all these different lengths to try and keep up this lie. Yeah. Like she tells them that her landlord is her boyfriend. The landlord is O'Shea Jackson Jr. She tells them that that's her boyfriend, and they pretend to go out. And then Taylor's brother comes and visit her, and he basically like susses out that Ingrid's like a fucking weirdo basically. Yeah. And he takes her phone and somehow manages to get. Oh no, because the password to Ingrid's phone is Taylor's birthday, weirdly. So he hacked into Ingrid's phone and sees basically like all the stuff that she's done, like her Instagram posts, like the fact that she's just like buying everything that Taylor's got in her house and all this stuff. And he's basically like, I'm gonna tell Taylor because you seem like a psychopath, and I don't want you to. The brother seems like a douchebag, but it seems at this point like he's trying to protect his sister. Mm-hmm. And then he keeps the phone, and he's like, you need to give me $5,000 or $50,000 or something like that for me to keep quiet. Mm-hmm. So she goes to O'Shea Jackson, and she's like, she pays a kid to punch her in the face, and then goes to O'Shea Jackson and said, oh yeah, the brother punched me in the face. We need to go and stop him. So then they get the brother, drag him out to like the desert or something like that. And then an altercation happens, and they like kind of like, she ends up hitting him over the brother over the head with a crowbar and leaves him in the desert. And in the altercation, O'Shea Jackson gets beaten up, so he gets put in hospital. The brother's in the desert, and then Taylor finds out basically that she finds out everything basically that Ingrid left her brother to die, and she's basically been stalking her all this time. And she's like you're not my friend. You need help. Like don't contact me ever again. Yeah. And Ingrid's taking this to be like, why are you being like this? Like, we're friends, like stuff like that. So she gets so desperate that she like buys the house next to them so that she can live there. But she's got no money left. Like, she hasn't got a job, she hasn't got anything. So she just bought a house, and the house is like stinking and flies everywhere. She's got no electricity, no running water, like no nothing. And all she's got is her phone, and she just keeps checking her social media to see what this girl's posted, and she's like keeps trying to call her and stuff like that. And basically in the end she confronts Taylor, like saying like, I just wanted to be your friend. Then Taylor says like, everything about you is fake, and then she says back to her, but everything about you is fake. You were never like this. You were exactly like me when you first came to LA. Blah 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 blah. Taylor says, I'm nothing like you. Basically like, you're crazy. Go away. Leave me alone. Never talk to me again. So then Ingrid goes back and tries to kill herself. She takes a load of pills and alcohol, whatever, and then she wakes up in hospital, and she does an Instagram live video, basically saying that she's gonna kill herself, saying like she's sorry for all the stuff that she's doing. She's like, she doesn't mean to be crazy, blah 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 blah, and she has all these pills and obviously passes out. Wakes up in hospital, and O'Shea Jackson's there, and he's like, oh yeah, like I saved you, I called the ambulance, blah blah blah. But like, look at your phone, look at all these people commenting on your. Because she wakes up in like a room full of like balloons and flowers, like get well, stuff like that. And then she looks at her Instagram, and there's loads of people commenting saying, oh, stay strong, be happy, don't kill yourself, like all these happy comments, whatever. And that she like starts smiling, and then the film just ends. So it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's kind of weird because
I'm not sure that's a good ending to have.
Exactly. So I think the reason they did that was kind of to show like I had the exact same thought that you had when the film ended. Yeah. So it's kind of like saying like
it's okay to do this and then try and kill yourself because then in the end
exactly,
you'll be all right.
Exactly. But the way it ended it, it's obviously that's the way they've ended it. But it makes you think, oh, this isn't okay.
Yeah.
Like when you watch it, thinking like it definitely shouldn't have ended like this. It should have ended with her being like, I shouldn't be so obsessed with social media. Blah 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 blah. I shouldn't let this thing control my life. But that's not how it ended. It ended the exact opposite way of what you think it would end. So it kind of like got me thinking like for a minute, thinking like I can't believe that people are like could be this obsessed with like how other people view their life, and to the point where they like it would make them want to kill themselves and stuff like that. So it was a pretty
true, very deep, isn't it?
It's a decent film. I think you guys should watch it if you ever get the chance. I think it's coming out in cinemas sometime soon in UK cinemas anyway. Because I know it's come out in America. It came out in August.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, but no, I thought it was pretty good. I don't know if you guys. I feel like my description wasn't great, but I don't know.
I'll probably watch it.
Yeah,
sounds alright to me. What's the rating you'd give it?
7. Solid 7. Yeah.
Solid 7. Alright.
Yeah, that's decent.
Mm.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
No, but speaking of O'Shea Jackson, I did watch Straight Outta Compton again.
Yeah.
Like it. Love that movie, man. So good. It's such a sweet soundtrack, isn't it?
Mm.
Banging.
That's one thing that's good about Stranger Things this season.
What's that?
Better soundtrack.
I didn't really take notice.
Everyone's been talking about Stranger Things.
Yeah, I mean,
Stranger Things too.
For me, I was really sceptical and really worried that it wouldn't be as good as the first one.
But
it's just as good as the first one.
This is the first one really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was worried that I feel like season 3 has got to be their end now.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's just gonna get too batshit crazy, really.
Mm.
Maybe I should
although,
should watch it.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
I didn't realise why they called her number 11. I must have missed that in the first season, or I must have just totally forgot why they called her 11.
Oh.
An imprint of 11, so it must be 11 or more.
Yeah.
People like her out there.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's what season 4 or 5 or 6 could be about.
Mm.
Going to find the others.
I think that's what they were alluding to with the
8.
with 8. Yeah. But I think because have you finished it?
Yeah, I finished it.
Oh, you finished it?
Yeah.
Ollie, do you give a shit if we? Or should we wait till Glenn's watched it, and we can all just chat about it together.
Yeah, because you'll probably listen to this anyway.
Yeah. So, do you want to quickly go over some TV, and then we can just end this thing?
Yeah, go then.
Yeah. So I want to talk about The Gifted because we haven't talked about The Gifted yet, and I feel like it is pretty decent to quite good. Like, so The Gifted is basically an X-Men TV show spin-off. Mm-hmm. Which timeline it's set in, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
It might be in its own timeline, but basically it's these two kids who everybody discovers that they're mutants basically, and they kind of drive them out of town. Like they drive them out of town, and then they join the mutant underground. Mm-hmm. And I think what we 5 episodes in, 6 episodes in.
5. No.
And 5 episodes in, and it's basically just like the Sentinel Services, which is the people who hunt down the mutants who they deem to have like done like illegal like terrorist activities. It's just kind of showing them versus the mutant underground, like the back and forth, and them trying to get away, and it follows the kids like also like discovering their powers and like how far they can push
they
their
work
powers.
quite well with it.
Yeah.
They don't know the powers.
So like for me, this is quite a conventional TV show.
I wouldn't call this a superhero film.
What would you call it?
I don't know. Super powered film because they're not really.
No, so they're not really superheroes, are they? No, they're not. Because so like
they're trying to escape this reality and go somewhere else so they can live their life like normal beings. Yeah. So
and it for me it kind of gets down to like why I liked X-Men and started watching X-Men in the first place. So it's kind of like basically kind of like an Xavier versus Magneto sort of.
Yeah.
So like there's people who are like, we're mutants, we just want to be regular people and we want to live our life. And then you've got other people on the other side saying like, no, you're dangerous, you need to be stopped. And it's kind of just like that. Whereas when you compare it to something like Legion, which was very like out there and abstract in a completely different way, like I much prefer this TV show to watching Legion.
This is really good.
I think it's very good.
Ollie, this is one I think you can get on board with as well. You know?
Really?
Yeah, because there is powers. There's a lot of powers in it, but it's not really the central thing. But it is. But it's like their escape. They're trying to free themselves of this these people who want to entrap them really, and it's like so this family. It's based on this family to really begin with, and basically the dad works as a lawyer, prosecutor, and he basically
against mutants,
and then he finds out his children are mutants, so he wants to save them, and he takes them to these people who are mutants, who will then take them to Mexico, where it's okay to be a mutant.
Yeah. Okay, see, I do like X-Men.
Yeah.
Is X-Men's Marvel, isn't it?
Yeah.
I do like X-Men.
I think So like out of the main characters, who do you like the best? I really like what's his code name? I think his name's Thunderbird, the one who can sense stuff.
Yeah,
and he's like
the
very strong. I like him. I think he's a good actor.
They've done it like split image of what I'm sure of the comic. You know the green eye girl.
Yeah.
Open the balls. She looks exactly like the cartoon. I swear.
Really, that's good.
I was like, I know exactly who you are when they brought her out. And I was like,
but the thing like there's also, as well as like obviously this superhero element, there's like kind of like moral issues with it as well. So like there was a point where one of the mutants, her power, she can basically like manipulate people's memories, and so she implanted a memory into
Inception.
She implanted her own memory into what's that girl's name? The one who can I can't remember this girl's name, but basically her superpower is that she can create portals for people to come through them, and she needed to do that to help the rest of her team escape, but she couldn't do it because she didn't have the like emotional capacity.
Yeah, there was no like trigger for us to. Yeah.
So basically, she planted a memory in her brain of a romantic memory of what the guy that she was trying to help. So then that spurred her on to be able to open up this thing and save the team. So then it kind of like got to the point where she was like, you can't just like even if I was saving people's lives, you can't just enter people's minds and do whatever you want with them. Change who they are. So then, and another thing which I thought was really, really good. So the main Sentinel service officer who's chasing after the mutants, his daughter died 4 years prior to this series. And she was killed by like some sort of mutant riot protest sort of thing. So he's like kind of like hellbent against mutants sort of thing. Yeah. So this girl who can manipulate minds, she goes into his memory and to try and find out some information. But while she's doing it, she gets interrupted by the other policeman backing up this guy to try and find him because they trapped him at this point. So she wasn't able to like end her manipulation sort of thing. So she was kind of like cut off in the middle, and so we think everything's fine, and this guy like he gets broken free, and he goes back home to his wife, and he's forgotten that his daughter's died because that memory's been like erased from his brain. So kind of shows like the effect that she had. Oh yeah. Kind of shows.
You got a good view from it.
Yeah, we're just watching a bit of fireworks right now because it is
better than mine this time.
Yeah, 5th of November and all that. But oh god.
Crikey. Good, mate.
But yeah, sorry. Back to X-Men. So yeah, it kind of shows like this woman, she's like manipulated it, but it's kind of all gone wrong. And I really like that little twist at the end that he like.
But she wanted to fix it.
Yeah.
But she didn't have enough
but
time.
They had to go, because there was like tear gas and stuff like that. And and the guy like basically had to be told all over again that his daughter's died.
Oh wow.
So I don't know if they're gonna make it so like.
So could she go back and put the same memory back in?
Yeah. She can just manipulate it. Yeah. I think she'd have to know what to put in there. But yeah.
So I'm assuming that this is gonna make. Or do you think he'll know that his mind's been manipulated?
Probably figure it out when he goes back into the office.
Yeah, so that's gonna make you even more hellbent on finding these mutants.
If you could, would you go back and manipulate any of your memories?
No.
Get rid of them all.
No, your memories shape who you are, isn't it?
That make you like a baby. You learn everything again.
Oh, get that.
Being a 24-year-old baby.
Forget that.
No, I'd keep my memories.
But I'll tell you what though.
Chiswick.
If it depends whether he forgets it every day.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
If every day he forgets that his daughter's dead, then he'll be hellbent on.
Yeah, that'd be like a memento sort of thing.
Yeah. Mad.
But yeah, that I don't know how many episodes it's going to be, but I think that TV show is solid. And
how many series are out?
Just first series.
This is only 5 episodes.
5 episodes in. I don't know. Yeah, so give it a watch if you feel like it. It's on there. Yeah, it's literally right there.
Right there.
But yeah. Do you want to talk about anything else? We can leave it till next time.
Yeah, let's leave it. What minute are we on?
We're at an hour 45, to be fair.
Yeah, let's leave it. We'll leave it here.
Alright, we'll leave it for.
Is there a film that we want to choose for everyone to watch?
Oh, was gonna say
Orient Express.
I was gonna say I want to go watch Murder in the Orient Express because that film looks pretty decent.
I do want to see that. I meant more
Like a Netflix one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we'll find one and we can watch it. Although,
yeah.
we haven't. Did we talk about Kidnap?
Yeah, you did.
Very briefly. Yeah, no, when you came in.
Oh yeah. It's rubbish. It's rubbish. I do not recommend that film. It's fucking boring. It's literally like an hour long. Like the first hour is literally just like a car chase, and I'm literally just like,
She didn't run him over. That really bugged me.
That's what I was thinking. Like, just hit him. And this thing's when the guy got out of the car and started running. She got out of her car. The guy got out of his car. And he started running towards her with a knife.
He got out of breath really
quickly. He got out of breath after like 10 metres. She got into her car and started reversing. And I was like, why don't you just get in the car and run this dickhead over and then go get your son? If the other one was there still. But, you know.
Oh, Kidnap. Is this the one with...
Halle Berry.
Right.
Not exactly our James Bond, because we were like,
it's
good to see, like a...
I wanted to see that
female
film, but is it not good then?
It's not great.
Oh,
I think it's boring. I haven't even finished it yet. I just think it's boring.
No.
I tell you what, actually, talking of spies and like female leads, that Jennifer Lawrence film, Red Sparrow or Black Sparrow or something.
Oh yeah, that looks decent.
That looks
I want to see that.
Spy one,
Yeah. I want to watch that.
Check that out. When, that's up.
But yeah, okay.
Jeez.
We'll call it a day there. Obviously, we've got a few things that we can catch up on, but we can all talk about that next week when hopefully Glenn's here and maybe Joe, even though he probably won't be here. So yeah, follow us on Twitter at Your Average Critics. Send us any comments or questions or criticisms or anything like that. Follow us on Facebook at Your Average Critics, on Instagram at Your Average Critics, on SoundCloud, iTunes, and all that good stuff. But yeah, see you later.
Bye.
Peace.